Imagine this. It is a warm June day in 2005 at Stanford University. Thousands of students sit in their caps and gowns. They just finished years of hard study. On the big stage stands a man in a black robe. He looks calm and smiles a little. But he knows something deep inside. He beat cancer only a year before. His time on Earth might be short. "Thank you," he says to the crowd. "I am honored to be here today at your graduation from one of the best universities in the world. Truth be told, I never graduated from college. This is the closest I have ever come to a college graduation. Today, I want to tell you 3 stories from my life. That is it. No big deal. Just 3 stories." The crowd goes quiet. Everyone leans forward. Who is this man? Why does his voice feel so powerful? His name is Steve Jobs, and this is his incredible success story. A story of failure, pain, love, and big dreams. A story that still helps millions of people around the world. Steve Jobs was born on February 24, 1955, in San Francisco, California. His biological mother was young and not married. She wanted the best for her baby, so she put him up for adoption. A nice couple named Paul and Clara Jobs said yes right away. They were not rich. Paul worked as a machinist, fixing cars and machines. Clara worked with numbers, but they loved Steve with all their hearts. They promised his mother he would go to college one day. Steve grew up in a small house in Mountain View, near Silicon Valley. That area was full of new tech companies. Paul had a garage full of tools. Little Steve loved to sit there for hours. His hands got dirty with oil. "You can build anything if you put your mind to it, son," Paul would say with a proud smile. Steve learned to fix radios and small machines. He was always curious. He took things apart just to see how they worked. In school, Steve was smart, but he got bored fast. He did not like rules. One day in high school, he met a man named Steve Wozniak. Woz loved building computers. They became good friends. They even made a small device called a blue box that let them make free phone calls. It was fun and a little naughty. "Steve, you have crazy ideas, but they just might work," Woz would laugh. After high school, Steve went to Reed College in Oregon. It was expensive. His parents used all their savings. Steve felt bad about that. After only 6 months, he saw no value in the classes. He did not know what he wanted to do with his life, so he made a hard choice. "Mom, Dad, I am dropping out," he told them one day on the phone. His voice was shaky. "I just don't see the point right now." His parents were sad, but they trusted him. "We love you, Steve," his mom said softly. "Do what feels right for you." Steve did not leave the college town. He slept on friends' floors. He returned Coke bottles for 5-cent deposits to buy food. He walked 7 miles every Sunday night for a free meal at a temple. And he took classes he really liked. One class was calligraphy, the art of beautiful handwriting. He learned about fonts, spaces between letters, and design. "This is fun, but it has no practical use," Steve thought at the time. He had no idea how important it would become. Steve needed money, so he took a job at Atari, a video game company. He saved every penny. Then, in 1976, when he was only 21, he and Woz had a big idea. One evening in his parents' garage, Steve said, "Woz, we should build a computer that normal people can use at home, not just big companies." Woz laughed. "Steve, you are crazy, but let's try." They started Apple Computer right there in the garage. They worked day and night. The smell of solder and coffee filled the air. Their first computer was the Apple I. Then came the Apple II. It sold like crazy. Apple grew fast. By 1980, the company was worth millions. Steve became rich and famous. He was the face of the future. But success brought problems. Apple got very big. They hired a smart man named John Scully to help run things. At first, everything was good. Then, Steve and Scully started to disagree about the future. Their visions did not match. In 1985, when Steve was 30, the board of directors fired him. They sided with Scully. Steve was crushed. He sat in his car after the meeting. Tears ran down his face. "How can they fire me?" he whispered. "I started this company in my parents' garage." It was all over the news. Everyone knew. Steve felt like the biggest failure in the world. He had let down his family and the people who believed in him. For months, he did not know what to do. He even thought about leaving Silicon Valley forever. This was the lowest point in his life, the big problem. Everything he loved was gone. But Steve still loved what he did. He still loved making great things. Slowly, a new idea came to him. "I am still in love," he told himself. "I will start over." He started a new company called Next. It made powerful computers for schools and businesses. He also bought a small animation company called Pixar for $10 million. At first, Pixar was hard. Money was tight. People said it would never work. But Steve kept pushing. He met a wonderful woman named Laureen Powell at Stanford. She was smart, kind, and full of life. They fell in love. "Laureen, you make everything better," Steve told her one quiet evening. They got married in 1991 and had children. Family gave him new strength. At Pixar, the team worked on a movie called Toy Story. It was the first full-length movie made completely with computers. When it came out in 1995, it was a huge hit. People loved it. Pixar became the best animation studio in the world. Then, in 1997, Apple was in big trouble. They bought Next and asked Steve to come back as CEO. Steve said yes. He returned to the company he started. He made big changes. He created the colorful iMac, then the iPod that let people carry 1,000 songs in their pocket. Later came the iPhone. Apple became the most valuable company in the world again. But another storm was coming. In 2003, doctors told Steve he had cancer in his pancreas. "Mr. Jobs, it is rare," the doctor said quietly. "You may have only 3 to 6 months." Steve went home. He looked at his wife and little children. His heart felt heavy. This cannot be the end, he thought. He felt scared like never before. But more tests showed the cancer was a rare type they could operate on. Steve had surgery. He fought hard. He got better. The scare changed him forever. It made him see life in a new way. Now we come to the most powerful moment. Back to that sunny Stanford stage in 2005. Steve stood tall. He told his 3 stories. First story, connecting the dots. He talked about dropping out and the calligraphy class. "I learned about serif and sans serif typefaces and what makes great typography great," he said. "It was beautiful and artistic. None of it had any hope of practical use in my life. But 10 years later, when we designed the first Macintosh, it all came back to me. We put those beautiful fonts into the Mac. If I had never dropped out, the Mac would never have had them." He smiled at the students. "You cannot connect the dots looking forward. You can only connect them looking backwards. So you have to trust that the dots will somehow connect in your future. You have to trust in something, your gut, destiny, life, karma, whatever. Because believing that the dots will connect down the road will give you the confidence to follow your heart even when it leads you off the well-worn path." The students nodded. Many felt lost, just like Steve once did. Second story, love and loss. "I was lucky," Steve said. I found what I love to do early in life. He told how he and Woz started Apple in the garage, how it grew to a $2 billion company, then how he got fired at 30. It was devastating. I felt like a public failure. I even thought about running away from the valley. But then he smiled. Getting fired from Apple was the best thing that could have ever happened to me. The heaviness of being successful was replaced by the lightness of being a beginner again. It freed me to enter one of the most creative periods of my life. I started Next and Pixar. I fell in love with an amazing woman who became my wife. Pixar made Toy Story, and later Apple bought Next, and I returned. I'm pretty sure none of this would have happened if I had not been fired. Sometimes life hits you in the head with a brick. Don't lose faith. His voice was strong and clear. Tears filled some eyes in the crowd. They felt his pain and his comeback. Third story, about death. Steve told how at 17 he read a quote, "If you live each day as if it was your last, someday you will most certainly be right." It stayed with him. Then the cancer came. Remembering that I will be dead soon is the most important tool I have ever encountered to help me make the big choices in life. Because almost everything, all external expectations, all pride, all fear of embarrassment or failure, these things just fall away in the face of death, leaving only what is truly important. The stadium was completely silent. Steve looked at the young faces. You have to trust in something. Your work is going to fill a large part of your life. The only way to be truly satisfied is to do what you believe is great work, and the only way to do great work is to love what you do. If you have not found it yet, keep looking. Don't settle. He ended with simple words, "Stay hungry, stay foolish." The students jumped to their feet. They clapped and cheered for a long time. Many had tears. It was the most emotional speech they had ever heard. Steve went on to lead Apple to even more success. He created the iPad and changed how we use technology every day. He showed the world what one person with passion and courage can do. Steve Jobs passed away in 2011, but his story and his words still live. Millions watch that Stanford speech every year. So what is the life lesson from Steve Jobs' Stanford speech and his success story? The lesson is simple but powerful. Follow your heart and your intuition. They already know what you truly want to become. Do not be afraid of failure. Every setback can be the start of something better. You cannot always see how the dots connect right now, but if you trust and keep moving forward, one day they will. Love what you do with all your heart. Work will fill a big part of your life. The only way to feel truly happy is to do great work, and that comes only from love. And remember, life is short. Don't waste it living someone else's life. Stay hungry for new dreams. Stay foolish enough to chase them. If you are a student who feels lost or someone who just failed at something big, remember Steve. He dropped out of college. He got fired from his own company. He faced cancer, but he never gave up. He changed the world. You can too. Start today. Take one small step. Believe in yourself. The dots will connect. Thank you for listening to this story on 10-Minute English Stories. If Steve's journey touched your heart, like this video, share it with a friend, and subscribe for more simple English stories that inspire. See you in the next one. Stay hungry. Stay foolish.